What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and in this video I did want to go over a topic I have been noticing popping up a lot more often. So we do know in the Motorfest beta that the hovercrafts and or the Jetsprint boats are not going to be in the game itself, at least on release. Now they could come in the future, but to be honest I'm going to go over why I think it's actually good these vehicles are not going to be in the game. So we all do know that the classes in this game are going to be a bit different. Now I would say a lot of them are most likely going to be changed in a better way, so we obviously have Street 1 and or 2, which I did go over this in a different video. I will leave a tag on the screen for that if you guys are interested, but not having these classes in the game though is most likely going to open up a lot more things, and also make a lot of the summits a lot better because, for one, I did notice in a lot of the summits when like a jet sprint race did show up, a lot of players were definitely like not the biggest fan of this, so I would probably say not having these events in these summits are most likely going to make them better. I also do know a lot of people definitely were not fans of the jet sprint boats on how they did drive. They were honestly kind of finicky and or very twitchy at times, and I would even say a lot of players, including myself, most likely did not like seeing these events show up in summits because, for one, guys, a lot of people most likely only had these boats maxed out and or like a gold part set only for the summits, for that matter. Like, how many people actually use these boats? I would even say it's probably close to like over 90% of the players most likely never use these jet sprint boats besides summits, so it is probably going to be a good thing we most likely will not see them anymore, and that way you can actually put a lot more time into the power boats and or get better sets for those, and that way you don't have to jump into like a jet sprint boat to really level those up either. So it really is going to be a win-win having a less class in the game, and it's also going to give the developers a lot more time to have different vehicles and or add a lot of different cars, similar to like having a hovercraft, which, by the way, I'm sure a lot of players do know this, but every hovercraft and or jet sprint boat in this game are also not going to be legitimate vehicles either, so it's basically going to be like their brand, which is Proto. This can also be a win though because now they can actually focus on adding more cars, like more Toyotas and or different vehicles. Like, who knows, guys, maybe we could see a Lexus LFA. With not having a lot of these other classes to worry about, they could add more vehicles into the other ones. And I would also say not having these two classes is most likely not going to upset anyone. I really do think a lot of people are not the biggest fan of either one of these classes, so not having to level up a hovercraft, which could definitely take hours, and or leveling up a jet sprint boat, which could again take hours, is going to be a nice plus, and that way you can actually jump into like a power boat and max those out, and then also go after really good part sets like the Nitro Chemist and or like a Fame Magnet set, so at least you can put more time into other classes. And that could also be a big way to look at this as well. Like, for example, guys, you will not have to max out a hovercraft and or a jet sprint just to be able to use them in a summit. So even if you did max a class out, you will also most likely have to use that class a lot more to actually go after like a Nitro Chemist set. So it really is going to take a while, especially because you have to use them in a summit. And I would say a lot of players most likely race to max them out just for those. And then after they use one of these classes in a summit, they most likely never touch those vehicles again. So not having to worry about these are really going to be a big plus. And one way I also looked at this as well, guys, is now you won't have to use two classes you do not like. I really do feel like a lot of players hated the Jetsprint and or the hovercraft, so seeing these removed in the beta honestly made me insanely happy, and I cannot wait to jump into all of these new vehicles and or leveling up these classes again, and that way you're not actually going to have a bad time when leveling up a jet sprint, which is probably not going to be the funnest thing to level anyway. But I would like to know your thoughts in the comments below though, guys. Are you happy the jet sprint boats and or the hovercrafts are now removed? I really do feel like it's going to be a positive change, and as always, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more insight.